What's the worst false accusation a man could get? The age gap between my son and my sister isn't that big. He's only 15 years old and she's 20, but they've always been close since he was a child. My son has always been mature for his age. When he was 11 he was already interested in learning about investments and already dressed like an adult. He actually looked like young Sheldon. My sister and he were in very similar stages of life, so they were attached to the hip. But when my sister turned 18 she started dating someone and wasted no time getting married. Obviously her and my son grew distant, which was natural as they were going in completely different directions. After a while, my son reconnected with her and her husband and became close friends with him. Every weekend my son wanted to go to their house and I always allowed it because I could see that they had a good reputation. My sister's husband was very kind, so I always allowed it. One weekend my son went to their house but forgot his phone cable. Since my sister and her husband use iPhones and he has an Android, they didn't have one. He asked me if I could bring the charger and I said I would. Later I ended up forgetting, and when I remembered it was already around 11 p.m. My wife and I went to bring the charger, but when we got there no one answered the front door. We called their home phone. Nothing. Since my sister lives in the house below my parents we thought we'd just let ourselves in because the gate was open. We went inside her living room since her door was unlocked, but everything was suspiciously quiet. We got close to my sister's room and we heard screaming. What's the worst false accusation a man could get? We couldn't make out any words, but my wife and I gave each other the look and were like, no way. When we opened the door, we found the two of them on my sister's bed. As my wife and I stood there, frozen and still, our hearts dropped to our asses. When we opened the door we kept hearing them chant 5K, 5K, 5K. Then when they saw me they both jumped off of the bed and hugged us super tight. When I asked what was going on, my sister told me that my son, my boy, again, keep in mind he's only 15, helped my sister make over $5,000. My sister jumped up and gave me a hug, thanking me because of my son. I was so confused. I asked what exactly was going on. After the two of them calmed down they sat down my wife and I on the bed to explain what's been going on. It turns out I've gotten the completely wrong idea of my son. He started visiting my sister because she's been facing some financial hardships and wanted to move out of our mom's house. So for over a year, my little man's been using this app on his phone to make money. I knew that he was into financials, but I didn't know he was actually doing it at such a young age. I asked him how he even set up a bank account to trade stocks since he's only 15. He told me with the app he didn't need to since it didn't require it. But who could? My sister. He brought her along and helped teach her how to use the app and how to invest in general. Every chance he could he was over at her place to help her better her situation. They've been at this for months and today they reached their milestone of 20K with the 5K that they had just earned. I could never be more proud of my son. My wife and I are still trying to process this. At this rate, we'll have to fire our financial advisor because our kid knew his stuff. I wonder if he can make more money so my sister can sue her deadbeat husband. Edit. I forgot to mention this for anyone wondering. The app is called Bloom Learn to Invest.